All right, good evening. So in 2024, there is news that HMRC, look, they're on the warpath right now. We talked about the fact that they're targeting ISAs. This is something that they are bringing in 2024, and they are targeting side hustles. So anyone who might be carrying on work on Fiverr, Upwork, you might be, I don't know, working for business online, taking small amounts of money. If you have any kind of side hustle that is generating any kind of income from you, HMRC are going to be targeting this in 2024. I'm going to take you guys through what I know right now in terms of what's actually been out there. And they're doing this in the same way that they did with crypto. Remember back in last year, or maybe it was even the year before, time has flown, they made all of the crypto providers, crypto exchanges, pass over information of people who had accounts with them. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. They are getting companies who allow people to render services, offer services, I should say, and render services to sign up so that they have to report what they're paying people, including their bank account details, so that they can cross-check that against their self-assessments on a year-to-year basis, and then write letters out to people who don't end up paying the right amount of tax. So this is coming in 2024. I'm going to literally just share with you what we already know right here. So this is an article from which HMRC is clamping down on side hustles. What tax do you need to pay? So from holiday homeowners, delivery drivers. So if you're working for, I don't know, if you're using your car as a hire service on a weekend, it's going to affect you. Airbnb is going to affect you. If you're doing things like Upwork, Fiverr, or you're using any major websites where you're offering a service, this is basically going to impact you. So what are they actually saying? So rules coming into force from January 2024 could mean people who make money through a side hustle have their bank account details shared with HMRC. As part of a global crackdown on tax evasion, digital platforms that allow people to make extra cash on top of their main income will be ordered to give HMRC users information. This will impact everyone from holiday rental hosts and delivery drivers to sellers on online marketplaces and even freelancers. So what they're talking about here is there's something, and I'll just highlight this area for you. There's something called the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development. There are about 28 companies that have signed up to this at the moment, and the whole idea is that these countries will cooperate to basically pass a piece of legislation, which means that all retailers, service providers will have to sign up to this, and this allows HMRC to enforce this to be able to make this work in practicality. Now it says here, under the measures, it will also share information with other participating tax authorities. So this will be other tax authorities outside of the UK as well, where a seller is resident. A copy of the details will then be sent to the seller to help them comply with their tax obligations. As of November 2022, 28 companies and jurisdictions had signed up to the OECD, which is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So that rule there is what they're essentially hanging their hat up on from what we know right now. Now, look, there are a few things that are worthwhile probably just talking about in terms of, you do have some tax allowances, which I just want to highlight in a section that they put out here. So people will be asking the question, what happens if you're renting out your property? Well, let me just go full screen on here quickly. If you're renting out property, you're getting rental income from that. You've got £1,000 that you can earn without having to pay tax on it. It's called, I think it's called property relief or something like that. So you don't have to declare that to HMRC as long as it's under £1,000. If it's over £1,000, you have to start paying taxes. You can also earn up to £1,000 in a side hustle tax-free before you start paying taxes. There's also a third one as well, which I'm trying to find on here. Yes, additional income. There was the property one. Is there a third one? Right, no, those are the two, essentially. But what it basically means is if you have a side hustle, even if you're selling on Etsy, right, or selling it on something like eBay, for example, the minute you cross £1,000, you're going to be required to basically complete a self-assessment and make sure you're paying the right amount of tax. Now, here's the thing, right? If I were to be a conspiracy theorists, I would say, and this will be the argument which I'm sure many people will have right now, why on earth are they going after normal people if they need to increase the tax take and not wealthy people? That's the question, right? I don't have the answer to that, but no one would be begrudged or made to feel as though it's an unjust way of thinking, given what we already know. I mean, the fact that ISIS have been in the crosshair or are still in the crosshair, and we don't know whether we're going to get clarification of that next month in the autumn statement. We might not. But the fact that they are considering ways of increasing the tax receipts because, by God, we need it right now as a nation. There is nothing that seems to be off the table right now. And side hustles just appear to be the next thing that is on the list of things for them to explore. So, is this good news? Is this bad news? This is probably bad news for people who are, using side hustles to top up their income. It will impact the people who need it the most more, I guess, is the way I see this. Because if you are in a position where you're first time buyer, trying to buy your first home, and you're getting a second job or a third job, or you're selling on Etsy or doing something on Fiverr or on Upwork or something like that, then all of a sudden it's a problem. I know for a fact that they started reporting things like OnlyFans, which is a very controversial topic for many people. That was being reported from last year. They started to do that. But I actually have friends who work in the admin side of HMRC, and HMRC have invested a lot of money into computer systems, millions into computer systems over the past 18 months, 2 years. I mean, last year, or maybe it was even the year before that, I was sat down with one of my friends who works on the software side, and they said the stuff that they're developing is mad. Like they can have a look at your bank account if they need to. If they really, really wanted to, they can go and have a look at your bank account to see if what you're reporting and what's in the tax return tallies up. And if they feel for whatever reason that it doesn't tally up, then they have the powers to basically investigate you. And that could go back 3, 4, 5 years. And who wants that kind of hassle? Because not only is it stressful, this is where they'll be going through everything with a fine tooth comb, and especially if you're self-employed, you run your own business and you're trying to cut corners, the hassle is not even worth it. So they've invested a lot of money into computer systems to be able to make sure that they can pull these things off efficiently. And I think we're going to see more and more and more of this as the investment in software, the investment in programs kind of comes to an end, and they start to look at, right, how do we get a return on investment on these things? I will still sit with you and say, look, there needs to be some kind of wealth tax, because whilst you're looking at everybody else for side hustles, why are you not looking at wealthy people who have, income streams via property and investments, right? How do you look at that? I mean, many people will argue, that they've had a look at moving around things like capital gains tax and capital gains tax, dividends tax, those kind of things. But should there be a wealth tax? I mean, this is a question for you in the comment section, because I'm sure that you're going to be really, really interested to know. But that's what we know right now. This is coming in January 2024. So be prepared. If you're not doing your self-assessment, you're going to have to do your self-assessments. This is my advice to anyone who is using side hustles right now. Make sure you have an accurate account of what you're earning via your side hustle. Because the minute you go over £1,000, that's it. It is your responsibility to make sure that you're doing a self-assessment, that you're reporting your income accurately to HMRC. It's not HMRC's requirement or responsibility to let you know, like, by the way, you should be paying taxes on this. No, it's your responsibility. So keep a good track of what you're earning and do the right thing. Don't try and cut corners. I mean, look, they may not find you for a number of years, but is it worthwhile cutting the corners and then they find you and find out about you later on? And with this reporting, they will be going through the data. So that's the conversation right now. Nothing is going to be safe in 2024. And I know that we're in a bit of a dire strait, but there we go.